Facelifts, Botox, peels, keeping the face looking young is a billion-dollar industry. But your face isn't the only tattleteller of your age. Your hands and your chest are even better indicators of how old you might really be. With tips on that, welcome Dr. Jim Kane with Innovative Aesthetics. Hi.
Thank you. Good to be here.
We do put such a big emphasis on our face, like right here, but we forget about everything like below, right here, and our hands, which get a lot of exposure.
That's so true, Deborah. And it's only natural. I mean, the face is the center of beauty. It's what we're looking at when we talk to people. And when people start getting interested in rejuvenation, that's often where they begin. What I see sometimes, though, is a woman will have rejuvenated skin on her face. Say she has a face that looks 40, but then her neck or her hands look 60.
Yeah.
And that kind of gives it away.
Yeah,
so.
That's not good. For examples, though, we have people like Sarah Jessica Parker and Madonna, who people always look at and say, oh, they're so beautiful, and then you look at their hands, and look, her face does not match that hand right there. And then there's Madonna. Hands look much older than she or the rest of her body does. The first thing we need to do is protect those areas, but if it's too late, we'll talk about protecting for those of you young enough to still do that. Let's talk about how we can fix the problem. But just as susceptible, and there's a difference between the skin on our hands and our chest and then our face.
There is. The skin of our the skin of our hands and our chest is thinner, and it also has fewer oil glands. It also gets a lot of sun. We don't tend to protect it as well. So it's one of the areas that ages the quickest on our body.
And part of the problem is if you told us in our 20s that the age spots and stuff would show up in our 20s, we would protect ourselves. But it usually doesn't. The damage is done early, but it usually doesn't show up until around, what, 40, mid-age type?
It starts in the 40s.
Okay. So the damage that shows up looks like what? What types of things are showing up on the chest and the hands?
Well, Deb, in a nutshell, as we age, basically our skin loses collagen and moisture. And the way we see that is wrinkles, lax skin, thin skin, blood vessels, and then you throw in a few brown spots or moles, and you have old-looking skin, which none of us like.
Yeah, which people call age spots. Peggy, what are you looking at over there? She's over there looking at her arms. Okay. And so those things in the past, we just had to kind of deal with it. But there's new technology that can let us get rid of those things. So what is the smart side?
Well, it is interesting you said that. In the past, what you had to do for your face, you could do a facelift.
Right.
Or you could do a laser ablation, which you take the skin off the face, which is a very painful procedure that had weeks of downtime.
Or slap on some makeup.
That's a lot of makeup.
Yeah.
Well, now we have what's called fractionated CO2 skin rejuvenation. Let me explain what that is briefly. If you take a laser beam, say the size of your thumbnail, and split it into 1,000 tiny laser beams, when you treat the skin with that, the tiny laser beams vaporize a column of the aged skin. That column is filled in with new youthful skin, and then between the untreated areas and the columns, collagen grows, and that tightens the skin. So you end up with this youthful appearance.
All right. And then the pigmentation problems?
Just by fine-tuning the machine, you can treat the pigmented areas, and basically they're vaporized also.
When you say laser, if people are thinking old-time lasers, they're kind of hesitant about it. But lasers today are a little bit different?
They are different. There are lots of different wavelengths, and they all vary in what they do. And they're much more controllable. Like I said, you can split the laser into tiny beams. You can control the energy in each beam, the depth, etc.
Okay, what we're showing right here is a smart side treatment. And so you just treat those, you're able to treat very small areas or a full area. You could do face, you could do hands, any part of the body, basically.
Any part of the body, and like a face treatment takes about 10 minutes.
Okay. What about darker skin? I know sometimes we'd had to be careful with lasers in particular.
You do have to be careful. I have to do a consult, look at the patient, see if they have keloids, that sort of thing, if they form dark spots. There are some treatments we can do beforehand to prep the skin so that if it has a tendency to form dark spots, we can prevent it. Sometimes we just have to say no. Yeah.
Once it's done, we're taking a look at some other examples of it used on a hand. Once it's done, is it done for good?
The changes are permanent. Of course, you will continue to age, and you can have a touch-up treatment if you want in a few years. But, yeah, the changes are permanent.
Yeah. How can we avoid this to begin with?
Well, an ounce of prevention. The obvious things, wear gloves, use sunblock, go ahead and use preventative therapy. Use Retin-A or a hydroxy acid, or come see me.
You know, it's funny you say, wear the gloves. Back in the day with my mom and grandparents, you know, they would step out of the house. Ladies had their hat on and their gloves on. They didn't have to worry about this type of thing. But then came along the doctors who could fix it, so now we don't have to worry at all. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I also wanted to talk to Shannon Riley, who actually had the Smart Side done on her chest, and we see that you're wearing kind of a low-cut, sexy little top there. But before, what was the problem? You wouldn't wear anything like that?
Well, I was working on my face. I have 3 toddlers at home, and we have a pool in the backyard. We go to the beach a lot, so you spend all this time on your face. I slather my face with products. I slather it with sunblock, and then you look down at your chest, and you think, my chest looks old, and my chest looked old, and it just was kind of like that crepey look and a lot of sun damage and a lot of discoloration. So a friend of mine told me about Dr. Kane and the Smart Side, and I decided I really want to try that. And my mom, I grabbed her. I said, "Come to your hands, old lady." And so we got in there, and I conned her into doing it with me, and we actually had a really good time. I was very surprised at how easy it was, and it was, not much downtime. It didn't hurt, and we laughed because we joked the whole time he was doing it, and probably giving him too much business. But it was a lot of fun. And after, you don't really realize how great it looks until you see a before and after, and you really realize, wow, it looks so much nicer. It's softer.
Well, darling, you look marvelous.
Well, I'm working on it.
All right. Innovative Aesthetics has a special offer for our Great Day viewers. Buy Smart Side on one area and get the second area for half off. But you must mention that you saw this segment on Great Day Houston and book your procedure by October 15th, so you have that beautiful skin. Call Innovative Aesthetics at 713-468-8759, 713-468-8759, or log on to their website at ia-houston.com. So when you're wearing all those beautiful gowns and stuff for like holiday parties, you look sexy. All right, don't go away. The weekend is around the corner.